Hey y'all, welcome back to Ramblin' Mama. I'm picking up from the last Gypsy Rose interrogation section that I looked at. It's just starting to heat up where the detective's really holding her feet to the fire and using the dossier technique to imply that the investigators know a lot, but he's not forthcoming about the details that they do know. So I'm going to try to let it go longer this time, and yeah, let's dive on in.
A totally different direction here. Okay, we're gonna get back to where we started from. Okay, you listen to me. Okay, let's get back to the why. We can talk all night long about this other stuff, and I'll sit here and I'll listen to you, and I'll listen to everything. This investigation is very thorough. Okay, and there's a lot of whys, and you need to answer those whys. Okay. Give yourself. What about yourself? Give yourself the peace that you need. You need a lot of peace within inside of you. Okay. You know. Once you get this off your chest, you're gonna feel a lot better about yourself. First of all, okay. And your friends, okay.
My friends know me as a sweet.
Yeah, you're right.
And as
you're
I
right.
am.
But you know what? Sometimes sweet people make mistakes. Everybody does, okay? You make mistakes, I make mistakes. But you know what? I'm glad you're not this person that's out here going around and doing this to a lot of other people, okay? I'm glad you're not that person. If you are, I don't even want to talk to you. I don't even want to be in the same room with you. If that's
Okay, so I think this is the pride and ego up technique where he's trying to appeal to her ego by saying, it's understandable to mitigate the brutal murder of her mother. I feel like what we saw just now from Gypsy is potentially genuine feelings. I saw her head bow down, and it sounded like she was getting emotional, and it could have been that she was feeling emotional and then she decided to amp that up a little bit to look for sympathy points. But when her head bowed, it seemed like the weight of the circumstances weighing down on her and dawning on her that she's up shit's creek, pardon the expression.
That's you, okay? But I think what it is, I think there's a lot of frustration in your life. I think there's some things that you and your mom, you've already said that your mom and you kind of had some arguments and you kind of had some strained relationships, okay?
But we worked through it.
You know what? You work through it. You're right, you do. But sometimes that can get the better of people, okay? And I think that's kind of where you're at with that. I think that you're stressing your life because your mom wanted you to stay so little all the time. Finally got to a boiling point, and you just said, you know what? I'm done. No matter what, Mom, I'm going to go with my boyfriend. I'm going to do whatever I want now. You made a decision, okay? But we need to get to why this happened to your mom, okay? You know what? People make mistakes every day. You do, I do, we all do. We've established that. And I'm going to establish it every time because you know what? That's what this is. It's just a mistake. That's all it is, okay? It's not something that's so huge out here. It's just, oh my gosh, it's a mistake. It's a simple little mistake.
My mom.
It's just a simple mistake is all it was, okay?
He's leaning hard on this pride and ego up technique. I'm halfway expecting him to say something about, why do you think they put pencils on the other side? Sorry, why do you think they put erasers on pencils? Like, people make mistakes. This case is so freaking tragic, man. So unnecessary and potentially avoidable. Just very, very tragic.
You know what?
I don't know. If I knew the basic facts of what is going on,
Sweetheart.
my friend had, I do have a phone, but it doesn't call people. I just basically used it for Yahoo messaging app, and one of the people that had texted me, I had texted him that I was leaving home, and he texted me, and he's like, "Are you okay? People have been posting some stuff on Facebook," and I asked him what post. And unfortunately, police came before I could even read what he was saying. So I guess he was trying to tell me something.
Okay. Do you see that that's what your friends, all your friends are wondering why?
Mm-hmm.
Even that friend that you're talking about is wondering why?
Mm-hmm.
That Leah's worried about you?
Aaliyah? Are you kidding me?
Look at me. Look at me.
Aaliyah's always been a bully to me.
Okay, but look at me.
Okay. You saw that? How spontaneous and naturally that laugh erupted out of her. It was not even, it was so instinctive and not even thought about. It just came out of her. And she even tried to stop herself, realizing, I'm in an interrogation room and I'm cracking up right now. This is inappropriate. So compare that to what we were seeing in the last video of that effortful displays of emotion. And yeah, it's really interesting, this window of authenticity.
This time is different. This time is a lot different. She's very concerned about you, sweetheart. Very.
What about my Aunt Rachel?
Okay. Why did this happen?
I don't know.
You do know why it happened. Okay.
I don't know why it happened.
Let me tell you something. I walk out that door.
Did she have a heart attack? She was
Hey,
sick.
look at me. We're not gonna play those games. I'm not gonna do that. That's not what I'm here to do. Okay? Then start being honest with yourself. And start being honest with me. No, you're not. Okay? You're not a bad person. I don't care what anybody's ever said to you. I don't care what your family's ever done to you.
I was her.
I don't care that maybe somebody's bullied you or made fun of you. Okay? Well, you know what? All that rage gets pent up inside.
But
That gets so overwhelming to anybody. I don't care if it's you, me, somebody else. You know what happens? You explode. Everybody does.
I go to church,
Okay?
and I take communion, and I release all of that.
Okay. And that's fine. And I'm proud of you for that, okay? And that's something that you need to continue to do, okay? But there again, people make mistakes, okay? You know, Jesus got angry in the Bible, did he not? And flipped the tables over, right?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so even he gets angry, okay? But all your friends are still down here, and all they want to know is why. They don't care about the details. They just want to know why, and they're concerned for you, and they still love you, and they still care for you. Matter of fact, there's still a lot of people there for you,
I know.
and every one of them's asking me why. Detective Hancock, why? Why?
I don't know if you didn't know this, but my mom had guardianship papers for me, because
I don't know if this part is redacted or if something's going on with my computer.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Okay, so that part was redacted. Let me take this opportunity to comment on some of the stuff that I've been seeing. So I've been watching this channel recently, and if y'all haven't seen it, I really highly recommend it. It's called Deception Detective, and it's an attorney who's trained in statement analysis and I think would use that for depositions and stuff like that. So he believes, try to summarize this as accurately as I can, hopefully, that there's a lot of room for error in behavior analysis and body language analysis because it can be so subjective to the viewer and also the subject. And so his work focuses more on listening to what people say And I love that as, for me, an added tool in thinking about these interrogations. So, backing up to talking about her anger, right? And the detective trying to coax a confession out of her by doing this pride and ego up and saying mistakes happen, and everyone gets angry, and of course you would do this, like normalizing this abuse that Gypsy endured to the extent that he's aware of it at this point, with that being justification for murdering her mother as gruesomely as Dee Dee died. And her inability to even agree with her having anger. And she talks about being a Catholic, which I know about that, and going to communion, and with the communion basically implying that her anger gets washed away, as if her anger in itself is a sin. And that is so dangerous, not just inside of Catholicism or religions, but that's such a pervasive and dangerous ideology, that the existence of anger in and of itself is dangerous or sinful. And I would argue that it makes me think of Chris Watts, cases like that where there doesn't seem to be too much anger on the surface, on the day-to-day, and then there's this horrific event that happens that to me indicates that there must have been quite some rage boiling under the surface that they were not allowing themselves to have. So from a therapeutic perspective, not being able to function with rage and then having that erupt, not being able to tolerate their own rage. So I think that's interesting. And then also the last thing I'll say is that her family, or all of these people being concerned and supportive, it's very tragic because, the question is like, well, where were you when this was happening? Was the abuse that hard to decipher and unclear? And it also makes you wish that, Gypsy felt safe enough to approach someone in her network with what was going on.
Right.
Okay. Can we talk about why first? And I'm glad you brought that up, okay? Because I've talked to them.
Good.
And you know what? They're this group of people that's sitting down here asking me why. Detective Hancock, why? Why? With tears in their eyes. Detective Hancock, why? Why?
Why don't you tell me why, please?
You tell me why, and then I'll tell you why.
I don't know why.
Yes, you do, sweetheart. You know exactly what's going on.
I don't. Please, I don't know what's going on.
Sweetheart, look at me, okay? Stop letting this get out of control. Stop. Yeah, you do know. And that's smart. I'm proud of you for saying that you know, because you do know. And you're going to let this get so far out of control that there's no way you're going to dig yourself out of it. And I'm here, okay? Because your family, your friends, and I know all of them are just your friends and they're not your family, but you might as well consider them family.
I do.
Because every one of them care about you.
I do consider them.
And I get phone calls all the time. Mr. Hancock, what? Why? Why? Mr. Hancock, that's all we want to know. Why? We still love her. We still care for her, but why? Mr. Hancock, we love her to death, but why? We love Gypsy. We care about her. Your Star Wars people, your buddies, every one of them talked to me and said, hey, we want to know why. Hancock, we love her. Tell her we love her, but we want to know why.
I just imagine how many people you talk to.
And they all, you know what? And everyone wants to know why. They don't care about anything else. They just want to know why. So what am I supposed to go tell them? What am I supposed to do? Okay? Because
I'm just wondering, the question you're asking, why? What happened? Why? why did I come up here? Why did something happen to my mom?
And that's what I'm asking. Why?
She had a lot of medical conditions.
Okay, this is not a medical condition. You know that. It's not a medical condition at all. Okay? All your friends and family.
Please,
If I can't go home,
please tell me.
listen to me. If I can't go home and tell them why this happened, that's all I want to know. If I can't go home and tell them that, guess what? They're going to wonder the rest of their life. It's going to hurt them.
Please tell me she did not commit suicide. She had bipolar.
Okay, we're not going to get off on that track. We're not getting off on that track, okay? You know what happened.
No.
You do know what happened. You were there, okay?
Wait, no.
Yes, you were. You were there.
I wasn't there.
Okay.
I told you. Okay.
I wish after he said, there was a moment when he said, you know what happened, and then he didn't speak for a few seconds and he let it hang in the air, and then he went in and interrupted himself talking further. I really wish he would have let it hang in the air even longer. It reminds me of the rules of a negotiation, like once the offer's been placed on the table, the first person who speaks loses. And I was smiling at, he's just got a really nice ability to, like I was saying in the last one, coddle her and then cut through the BS with her simultaneously.
You're leaving stuff out. You know something, and you're afraid. You're scared.
I am afraid, and I am
Are you
scared because
afraid?
I don't know what's
So
going
has
on.
somebody threatened you?
What do you mean threatened?
What do you think a threat is? What do you consider a threat?
I'm gonna kill.
Somebody ever said that to you?
No.
Yes, they have.
No.
And I know who told you that.
Nobody's ever said it to me.
So you're telling me you've never been threatened?
Well, once by a stranger at Walmart.
Okay, I'm talking more recently.
No.
Okay. How far are you going to let this snowball get? How big are you going to let this snowball get before it just explodes? You want to let it get just so big, so huge, that even your family and friends won't ever talk to you again?
No, of course not.
Because right now, all your family and friends, every one of them, they're there. They're still supporting you.
Of course.
You know why? Because they love you.
No.
And I've even had some of them tell me that they love you. They said, Mr. Hancock, when you go talk to her, tell her I love her. Tell her that I care about her and I still love her. I said, you know what? I will tell her that. I will tell her that you still love her. But guess what? I can't do that because they asked something else of me too. They asked me why. And I told them, I said, you know what? I said, this girl sounds like a smart girl. This girl sounds like a girl that, she's going to be honest with me when I go in there and talk to her. She's going to tell me why. And then I can come back and tell you people this. And they said, good. Because we love her. Totally love her. So I'm telling you that your family and friends love you. And I'll tell you who they are. But we've got to get to a certain point before we can get on with that. And I know you want to hear that. I know you do. I know you, sweetheart, I know you love your mom. I have no doubt that you love your mom. Good.
Let's go back, and it felt to me like this is a true display of emotion, and it's so sad. His approach right now is kind of simultaneously reminding her of how alone she is in this interrogation room, that no one's going to come to save her. In this moment, she's a true orphan. I know that she had her father, but as far as I recall, he wasn't in her life in any meaningful way. In a big part due to Dee Dee's manipulations and lies and stuff like that. But Dee Dee effectively made it so that she and Gypsy were on this island together, this island of manipulation and mistruths. And now Dee Dee's gone. Gypsy and her boyfriend are being held and questioned separately. And Gypsy must feel so profoundly alone in this moment. So for the detective to be really pushing on the personal responsibility that he wants Gypsy to take in giving him information about what really happened. And it's partially a pride and ego technique up using, has anyone threatened you? I remember with Chris Watts, that was the moment that he broke when Tammy, I believe the one who did the lie detector on him, gave him the option of, was it Shanann? Was Shanann trying to hurt the girls? And once he had that story offered to him that, oh yeah, Shanann did that to the daughters and he in retaliation hurt Shanann, then he was in pre-confession at that point, and everything came out once he was united with his father. So that you're on a lonely island thing, and these people really care about you, and I want to bring you safely to them. When you're feeling so alone, scared, and isolated, I can see how that's very effective. But let me back up a little bit more, because I think this is true emotion that we're seeing from her in the form of regret, possibly, and sorrow about her mother being gone and her being effectively an orphan.
I have no doubt that you love your mom.
Did she say I shouldn't have done it? I think she might have said that. Tell me in the comments below if that's what you heard. Sorry, my charger is like dysfunctioning. And you see how he taps her to keep her from going into trancer, because he's got her on the hook now. She's pre-confession, if not in the midst of a confession.
Good. Listen to me, okay? I know you love your mom. And don't you think your mom loves you? Don't you think your mom just is worried about you? Loves you? Okay? But we gotta get down to the bottom of why. Okay?
I honestly didn't do anything to my mama.
Who did? Who did?
I don't know.
Do we want to go back to square one? You don't want to do that. We're too far into this. You don't want to go back to square one. How can I go back and tell all your loved ones and your friends that you love them? And you told Mr. Hancock why this happened? Because I go back and I tell them, hey guys, I can't tell you why. They're gonna be sad. There's so many of them that protect you and want to protect you. And all of them have told me this. Everybody I've talked to says, tell them we love her. Tell them we care about her. Tell them we'll stick up for her. But you know what? Guess what? Every one of those people asked me, why did this happen? And I said, you know what? I said, I'll talk to her. I said, she knows why. Okay? And you do. And you know why. Just because we do bad things doesn't mean that other people don't love us. Doesn't mean that your mom doesn't love you.
Look, I'm gonna tell you this, but please don't think I did it because I did anything to my mom, because I didn't. Look, Nick and my mom didn't get along very good.
Okay.
But that's all I know.
Okay. So why do you think Nick did this?
I didn't say he did.
Sweetheart, I already know. I've already talked to people, okay? And right now,
He said he hated my mom, but because my mom didn't want us to be together. But I was getting on my mom's nerves. Her nerve medicine was running out. Her patience was getting very thin for me, sticking up for him every time.
good job, I'm proud of you. You're doing a good job.
And so she asked me to stay away from him, and I promised her I would.
Okay.
And
And then what
but then
happened?
she just said, well, if you want to go, go. I guess out of love she did that, because she wanted me to be happy.
So why did this happen to your mom? What was the reason for it?
I don't know. All I know is that
Why didn't it hurt her? Sweetheart, what was his reason behind this?
This is another
We're back to
thing,
that wall.
you know, much like perpetrators will use softened language when they talk about the crime. You notice that he says hurt her, even though he's made it clear that, you know, they've seen Dee Dee's body and he knows exactly that that was not just a slight injury. The other thing is, I think it's so interesting that the combination that was effective in eliciting the beginning of a confession from Gypsy was what we were talking about before. And it makes me think about her motive for hatching the crime. And I think it was, in watching her in Here Now, that it was just as much about connection as it was about freedom. Meaning, Gypsy didn't, I mean, who knows what eventually would have happened with her and Nick. Maybe she would have left him and gone and dated around, but she escaped with him into this relationship. And it makes me think that Gypsy was just so completely desperate and starved for connection outside of the castle walls that her entire life up until this point, and she's in her early 20s, had been about her mom and her medical trials and tribulations, which were fabricated. So it could be, and I'm just like reverse engineering thinking about this here, it could be that the reason that the detective was effective in this particular tactic is because he was pushing so hard on Gypsy having these people waiting for her outside the metaphorical castle walls that really care about her and love her despite the stuff that happened. And if in fact she was craving above all connection, maybe that's why it was so effective. Plus, the line of questioning of threatened that the detective was doing gave her ego a way out. And you see in this confession, she's talking about Nick not getting along with her mom, so making that entire conflict between Nick and her mom and her being the innocent bystander in all of that. And of course, there is a degree of innocence because of the horrific abuse she endured, but that doesn't change the fact that, as far as I understand it, Gypsy was the originator of the plot. So, which is why another reason why I feel pretty adamantly about Nick Godejohn of his sentence being a life term without parole being inappropriate, in addition to all those other factors having to do with his cognitive abilities. But let's keep going.
Why?
I can't see why. He knows I love my mom. He knows that she's the most important thing to me.
So why do you think he did this to her?
He only said something to me that he said that it's us against the world, and that he's gonna protect me no matter what, and that we were gonna get married and everything, and nothing was gonna stop us.
Good. Even your mom? So he took care of that, didn't he?
What do you mean? I don't think he would ever hurt her. I mean, he's very sweet. He's very kind. I mean, he doesn't like police that much. He's kind of a radicalist, I guess you would call it.
Okay.
But,
Sweetheart, your mom loves
You saw the detective cock his head. I think she said, Gypsy was saying something like he wouldn't hurt her, and he just trying to keep it real. But you see how she's setting it up for, if she does dime on her boyfriend, that she won't be, what is the word? Is it inculpated for premeditation? Because she's saying, oh, well, he never liked my mom and he was always saying he's going to protect me or whatever, which isn't premeditation. That's not like, hey, I love you, I'm going to protect you, I'm going to hurt your mom to rescue you or whatever. She's kind of planting the seeds that, oh, well, this is the way he is and he's very protective of me. So kind of like a rabid guard dog, like he did this of his own accord and I had nothing to do with it, no influence, nothing.
you very much. So we're not going to go off on what Nick believes and what he doesn't believe. Okay? But we're going to start talking about why Nick did this to your mom. And you know why he did.
Also, to mention that he doesn't like police to a detective is not exactly doing damage control for Nick's image. And I think that's intentional on Gypsy's part, even though she does it in her kind of, innocent little girl way.
He did this. Don't let your friends down. Don't let those ones that still are there and got your back and still love you. Don't let them down. Don't do that to them. Because every one of them still love you. Let's not do that to them. I don't want to do that to
I
them.
honestly would never hurt my mom, but I'm not.
But why did Nick hurt her? Now's the time to be truthful, sweetheart. No more lies.
The only reason I can think of is because he wanted me to himself.
Okay.
Because my mom kept on getting in the way of us being together.
Sure she did. She didn't like Nick. She didn't want her little baby girl to grow up. She wanted to keep her little baby girl young, didn't she?
She said that there was something dangerous about him. She had a way of reading people.
Okay.
And she said that he seems like the head in a closet type of person, the kind that murders and kills, and
Your
like
mom was right.
Jeffrey Dahmer kind of person.
I think your mom was right.
Yeah, this part is really frustrating to watch because, it's clear that Gypsy wants to pin it on Nick in this moment, but she doesn't want to be the one to pin it on him. So she and the detective are playing this game of, oh, I don't want to be the one to say it. And the detective's like, oh, I'll help you and I'll be the one who says it and, rescue you. And this passivity and feigned innocence is, on a subjective level, just annoying and hard to watch.
You know your mom's right. You hit it right on the nail on the head, sweetheart. You know your mom was right when she said that. You should know what? Okay. And how should you have listened to her? Okay. Should you try to stop him? Was he too strong?
He's very strong.
Was it hard for you to try to stop him? It was very hard for you to try to stop him, wasn't it? He's too strong, wasn't he? Yeah, I see that. Look at me. Did you try to stop him? Okay. Hey, I'm proud of you. Look at me. I'm very proud of you for that. Okay, this is about to step in my direction. Okay. How did you try to stop him? Did you try to pull the knife away from him? Was that a yes? I can't guess with your nodding, so that's why I'm asking you. It looks like you're shaking your head up and down. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. What did he do with the knife after all this?
Yeah, and also it's hard to pick up on the video, and I apologize for the quality. Y'all know how this goes with interrogation videos. But, you know, he also wants to make sure that there's a recording of her affirming or denying these questions. And again, you know, she's retreating to making herself even smaller and staying balled up and bowing her head down. And I believe that when we see some of these emotions coming up, that, like I've been saying, it could be a combination of authentic feelings about the regret she has, and also strangely feeling sorry for herself. I guess not strangely, like, you know, feeling sorry that she's in this dumpster fire nightmare of a life and circumstances, and her circumstances seemingly just went from awful to even worse than that. And yeah, and now it's about to get even worse. So I think the reality of that is hitting her, probably tinged with some real regret. And can you imagine being in this situation? It seems like with a lot of these homicides that we look at, that there's almost a fog that gets lifted after it's happened and people are in the interrogation room. Not always, but with this, it's kind of like that rage has been expelled, and now in the under the cold clinical examination of a detective, or, you know, cold methodical, they're reflecting on the circumstances and potentially realizing that there were other ways out. And maybe that's me projecting that on them, but I have that feeling in this moment that Gypsy had to have been contemplating about her life in that way, that kind of seeing the light now that she's separate from her mother, free from her mother, and having to face the consequences of it, that there might have been other roads out. And then feeling the immense guilt, remorse, sorrow, self-pity, tragedy of that.
I'm sorry that I lied to you from the beginning. I'll tell you the truth all now.
Good. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I love him so much, but maybe he can get help now. I'm trying to gonna go outside and we're just gonna sit together for a while on the porch. And
At your mom's house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he came inside and he started walking to my mom's room, and I told him that he needed to go outside. We need to go outside.
What was your mom doing at that point? Was she asleep?
She was asleep, and I got up to use the restroom. And at that point, he had put me in the bathroom, and he had locked the door.
Okay. And
he went to my mom's room, and I heard her cry. I heard him scream for my name.
You heard your mom crying? You heard your mom crying? And you heard your mom calling out your name?
Mm-hmm.
But
And he was screaming.
she was screaming.
And
Just
and he opened the door, and he was covered in his hands and blood, and he had cut himself with his finger.
you know if it was his left hand or his right hand?
It was, oh gosh, it was this hand.
Okay.
And what happened was, he commanded me to clean him up.
Okay.
And
How did you do that?
I cleaned things up with wet wipes and
With like what kind of wipes?
baby wipes.
Baby wipes? Okay. What did you do with those baby wipes?
I threw it
Like in the bathroom trash or
in the garbage.
in the garbage? Okay. Was that
He says, you don't know how he is.
okay?
You don't know how violent he is.
I know.
You
I
don't
know.
know how he controls me.
Listen to me. Go ahead with your story, okay? You're doing good.
And I was in shock. And then he took me to my bedroom. And he made me take off all my toys off the bed.
So it made you take all your toys off your bed? Okay.
And he raped me.
And he raped you?
And then after he was finished, he made me grab my bag. And
Grab your bag?
my bag to pack stuff.
Okay. What was in the backpack?
Stuff like soap and things. Clothes. He picked out clothes for me.
Okay. What did the backpack look like?
It's a black backpack that says Faith Book.
Faith book on it?
Mhm.
Black backpack? Okay.
And a pink suitcase.
A pink suitcase?
And he
Okay.
put my clothes in there. And after that, we called a taxi.
Okay.
And
Do you remember what taxi company it was?
it's Springfield, yellow cab.
Yellow cab? Okay. Alright.
And I know that helping him clean up was wrong. But he said I had to, and he grabbed me by the throat, and he said I had to.
Okay.
Yeah, so when she's recalling the moment of Dee Dee's murder and her breathing changes like that, it reminds me of what Mark Bowden talks about, that when you're faking that, it's really difficult to sustain because you don't have the proper amount of adrenaline in your body to metabolize that amount of oxygen or something like that, and you're at risk of fainting. But to me, that emotion that she showed read very authentic. And I think, it's reasonable, right? Because she definitely is traumatized by what happened, regardless of her being the mastermind behind it and designing all of it. And then I also think it's an interesting moment when they get to the discussion about the backpack, because that would imply premeditation, that there's a bag with her belongings already in it, and no mention of he ordered me to hurry up and pack a backpack. Like, it's kind of this awkward moment of, I believe, the detective knowing quite well that what that backpack indicates, which is premeditation on her part as well as Nick's part. And his constant tapping of her when she does get very emotional reminds me of this acting teacher I had, who he would do that or encourage students to do that if they would be getting very emotional and maybe like triggered by some event that happened in their past, just to keep them embodied and in the room and not spiraling off, disassociating into this, traumatic, almost like flashback. So, yeah, interesting.
And so that's why I did it. And we took a cab back to his hotel.
Where was the hotel at?
The Days Inn on Kentwood Avenue. North Kentwood.
Okay. So it was like One-Stone Avenue? Okay.
It's like by the Cracker Barrel.
Oh, okay.
And we stayed there and until we can get a Greyhound bus. But the Greyhound bus that he was going to take to go back to Wisconsin was too full for me. So, and he told them my name was Bella Godeshon.
Okay.
So they couldn't track me.
Sorry, and also I'm remembering the moment where she says, I know that wiping him off was bad, but he ordered me to do it. So even how cognizant she's being of premeditation or being an accomplice, she's still very clearly looking out for herself here, which is interesting when I contrast that in my mind to Nick's interview.
And so we took the Greyhound bus and we came here where we stayed for a few days at his parents' house.
Okay. Why are you wearing a wig?
Because my hair is fully grown out and he didn't want people to recognize me.
Okay. Where's that wig at now?
Because my hair is fully grown out and he didn't want people to recognize me.
Right, again, so it's Nick. Nick's the mastermind. He's the one who's forcing her to do these things. You would almost think, based on this account, that he himself came up with this whole idea and then Gypsy was forced into accepting it and, under threat of violence.
Okay. Where's that wig at now?
Back at his house. All my stuff is at his house. Here in Big Bend.
Oh, in Big Bend? Okay.
And I have money there. I have my social security cards there. I have an extra feeding tube there.
Okay. So you got all that extra stuff there.
Yeah,
Okay.
important.
I don't think it's an accident that she shows him the feeding, if that's a feeding tube or the remnants of a feeding tube. I think that's definitely, manipulation left over from basically what her mom raised her to do.
Things that I have to get back.
Okay.
What's going to happen to me, sir?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, and we'll talk about that, okay? I want to get a few more things out of the way, okay? You said that when you were in the house, you guys were supposed to go outside. Had him and your mom, what was him and your mom arguing previously?
She didn't know he was there.
Okay, so she had no idea he was there.
No.
Had they argued or anything before? Or, why did he? And we're back to that question of why. And I want you to tell me why he did this.
I know why.
Okay.
On the phone, they had an argument. I wanted them to get along so bad. And I invited him to come in March to see Cinderella with me. The movie.
This past March? Okay.
The movie Cinderella. And anyway, unfortunately it hurt my mom's feelings because I paid more attention to him than her.
Okay.
And anyway, she didn't like him from then on. And I called called him to try to talk to him, and he told me, she had talked to him for a little while, and was like, you're not good enough for my daughter, you're a creepy guy, and it's creepy that you were hitting on my daughter whenever we're going to a family movie, and he doesn't like his name to be dragged through the mud. And
is that something he's told you, or words that he's used, or okay? So he told you he didn't like his name being dragged through the mud by your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he said that it was his way of getting justice or revenge.
Okay. Do you know what he meant by getting justice or revenge? You know what he meant by that? What did he tell you?
He just said that she had bad talked him, that she deserved it.
And he says, did he say she deserves it? Or did he say she deserves something else or something different?
Well, he said that
you
he
can
would
use whatever words you want, no trouble.
He said he would have done way worse if he didn't care about me. He said he wanted to originally rape her too.
Okay. Did you go in and see your mom?
No.
Yeah, this chapter could be called dragging Nick's name through the mud. It's interesting. She does it, I think, pretty tactfully. The thing that she says about him coming to hit on her, whatever, at a family movie, she's presenting the facts in a very calculated way and still using this facade of, oh, I love my boyfriend so much and I don't want to betray him, but still, yeah, so effectively she gets to paint herself as this completely innocent, without blame person in between this evil mother overprotective mother and this vicious, bloodthirsty, rapist who has like a bit of an ego bruising and goes and kills his girlfriend's mother.
No. I didn't want to. No.
Proud of it. I know it doesn't make it any easier, but I'm proud of you. Can you describe the knife to me?
It's sharp.
Would it be like a folding knife, a switchblade, a butterfly, or something different?
It was a long knife.
A long
That's all
knife.
That's all I know.
Would it unfold, or would it fold up, or something different?
I don't think it folded.
Think it was just a knife with a handle, or something different?
It looked like just a handle.
Do you know where he got that at? Wasn't from the kitchen at your guys' house?
I'm not really certain.
Do you know what he did with the knife after all this?
No.
You positive?
Sir, I loved my mom so much.
I can tell you did.
I would have known, and I don't.
If you would have known this was going to happen, you would have never went with him. When you say went with him, what do you mean by that?
I would have never gotten involved with him. I would have.
Never had a relationship with him. Okay.
We've been in a relationship for 2 years and 7 months. And in that time, his exes have told me that he's very controlling. And he's into that thing, BDSM, the fetish thing.
That's a sexual thing. Okay.
And I agreed to it, I guess. saw nothing wrong with him being a little controlling. I mean, that's fine.
Did anything ever happen here when you were in this state? Sexually, I mean, was all the sex that you had here in this state, was it consensual?
It was consensual.
Consensual, okay. But in Missouri, he forced himself on you. And when did that happen?
After he killed my mom.
Yeah, and she can't even, I think she says BDSN or something, BTSN. And I feel like this is what guilty parties do. They can't even admit a shred of guilt, whereas innocent parties are more likely to be okay with the nuance of, well, yeah, I let him come sleep over at my house, but I had no idea he was going to do that. And yeah, we were into BDSM, but that was a whole consensual part of our relationship, and it was all mutual and consensual, so I never thought that he would be violent or sexually aggressive in this way. Like, it really does start to get fishy when people are incapable of showing any kind of flaws or nuance like that.
How did that make you feel?
Horrible because it hurt.
Okay. Where'd you guys have sex at?
After what happened in my bedroom,
Okay.
we went back to the hotel, and he kept telling me that everything was going to be okay, and everything that he did was for me, because he worships me, and he wanted us to be together.
He wanted you guys to be together, told you everything would be fine. What did you think that he meant when he said that?
I thought he said he wanted to marry me.
Okay. How did that make you feel when he told you that?
Happy.
Sure.
Because we talked about getting married before.
But you knew your mom was dead at that time. Is that correct or not?
That is correct.
That's correct. Okay.
So he's finally calling her on something. We've gone a long, long time with her giving him information, him feeding her prompts to allow herself to confess, to allow it, to make it easier for her to confess without it injuring her ego. And he didn't call her on anything for a long time until now, which is pinning her down and being like, yeah, but at that point you did know she was dead. So this whole thing in the beginning of their interview of, what is something wrong with her? I don't know. Did she have a heart attack? This like feigned innocence.
I wanted to protect him. At the same time, I don't want to go to jail. Because I didn't do anything wrong.
This is why, from the very beginning, when I talked to you, that I said, your involvement in this, and you didn't tell me, okay? Because I don't want you lying to me. I don't want you leaving stuff out. Okay? What was he wearing that night that happened?
A scary shirt. It was black and it had clowns on it. Scary clowns.
Scary clowns, black shirt. Okay. Can you describe any other clothing that he might have been wearing?
A hoodie, a black hoodie.
Black hoodie.
And black pants.
Black pants. Okay. What about his shoes?
He wears the same shoes.
Do you remember what color those were?
Like an off-white. He only has, I think, one pair.
Okay. Does he still have those?
If he's wearing them right now, he's wearing them.
Do you know if he has those pair at the house here in this day?
They probably are.
So the ones that he killed your mom, he was wearing, he probably has here at the house that he was living in. Okay. Anything else that he was wearing? Ball cap or hoodies or anything like that? Nothing?
Yes.
Okay.
She could be having some true ambivalence about this, but I think it's interesting that on the one hand, she's like, oh, I don't want anything to happen to him. I love him so much. And here on a silver platter is his motive, his means, the evidence he left behind, and let's work together to make sure he's, held responsible for it.
So you never went in the bedroom?
No, sir.
You said that he had locked you in the bathroom? Describe how that happened.
As I was going towards my mom's room, because I was feeling like here, and it's a hallway. And I was like, where are you going? And he put me in the bathroom. He closed the door, and but first he locked the door in the way that it locked itself.
Were you inside the bathroom when you
I was
locked it?
inside the bathroom.
Okay.
And
And so he can lock it from the outside?
No, he put it like to lock inside, and then he closed it.
So the lock was on the inside
The
where
lock
you were
was
at?
in the inside.
Okay, so how come you never unlocked it and it came out?
I never thought about it.
Yeah, that whole physical reenactment made no freaking sense, right? Like the logistics of that. And she starts it off by saying, I thought I was going to my mom's room. But like, I would love to hear the end of that sentence. And also, there's always going to be lunatics on here that have an issue with whatever. The parts that I'm digging into and being critical of her are not meant in any way, shape, or form to condone the abuse that was inflicted on her for her entire life up until this point, resulting in irreversible medical damage to her and dental damage. Like, it's insane. I want to say her salivary glands were removed, which then resulted in her teeth rotting out and needing to be pulled. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, the atrocities that were committed on this young woman are awful, and I'm in no way condoning them. All I'm pointing out is I'm trying to, in a nuanced way, understand where is that line between the abuse that was done to her and her being incapacitated to a certain extent because of the abuse, being limited emotionally, probably even cognitively, certainly physically. And where is the aspect of Gypsy that is calculating, manipulative, and ultimately was the designer of, I believe, in my opinion, was the mastermind of this crime, and it's a fascinating juxtaposition, this little girl, helpless victim persona that she has that is inspired by her, in fact, being a victimized for so many years and forced to act younger than what she was. So that's it. It's very complicated. So, it's very nuanced. So I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to get it, and bozos are going to be bozos, but just hopefully trying to clarify that.
At that point, did you know what his intentions were?
Not really, no.
You didn't know what his intentions were with your mom?
No. I was kind of afraid of him, so I thought I'd give him time to cool off, I guess. And then I heard all the screaming, and I was so scared that I just covered my ears. And I just crawled up in a little corner.
You see how that made physical sense? The way that she covered her ears and huddled in a corner, and she said that it was in symmetry with her words too, meaning like it was the same time I covered my whatever and I balled up into so, and then compare that to the weird little dance that just happened with the hallway demonstration. Also interesting to think about why she suddenly felt comfortable in getting up and acting this whole thing out at that moment. And I wonder if it has to do with that being so crucial. It is very crucial, right? Whether or not she was staying in that bathroom of her own volition, or if she was literally locked in and forced to not come to her mother's aid. So maybe it was the absolute sheer necessity and importance of that moment that fueled her with a bit of adrenaline to get up and act it out. But just contrasting those two moments, right? That second, her covering her ears and balling up, to me makes a lot of sense. The other thing made no physical sense.
Where were you at in the bathroom? You said you were curled up.
By the tub, like by the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
I was there.
What were you wearing that night?
I was wearing a white nightgown with flowers on it.
A white nightgown with flowers? Yeah, you're doing this that have flowers on the top up here?
Flowers on the top.
Okay. Now, when you said nightgown, I'm not a girl, so I don't know what those things are. Can you kind of describe it a little better for me?
A button gown, long sleeves.
Okay.
White, and it was a soft material.
Soft material. Okay. Did you have panties or shorts or anything on?
No, I don't usually wear panties to bed.
Okay.
And I think his feigned naivete, I'm not a girl, using that as a friendly, humorous moment there is because of how important knowing what she wore was. Because that also is there blood spatter on it? Is she lying about not being in the room or not participating in the murder?
I'm going to get a little bit personal, okay? When you were in the bathroom and you heard your mom screaming, can you kind of describe that to me? If you can, try to start from the beginning, the middle to the end.
I heard her wake up, kind of moaning, and I heard her scream.
You heard her moan, and then you heard her scream.
And
Can you describe her screaming to me? I know that's an awkward question, but
startled.
okay.
And then she kept screaming louder and louder, and then she had said, "Gypsy, Gypsy," and
He isn't who?
Gypsy, my name. She was calling for.
She was calling?
She was calling for my
She's
name.
your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think I knew what he was doing.
At that point, you knew what he was doing?
I knew what he was doing, but
And your mom was hollering at you for you?
I was too afraid to go because I was afraid he'd do the same to me.
So would it be safe that you kind of knew what he was going in there to do when he locked you in the bathroom? Okay. Did he tell you kind of what he was going to do? Did he make a comment or any kind?
No.
Okay.
But while he was doing it,
Now, when you say doing it, I can't guess. Part of my job is not to guess, so.
killing her,
Okay.
he said a comment. You won't keep us apart. You won't keep us apart. You'll be dead before that happens.
Where were you standing at? Where was he at whenever he said that?
I was in the bathroom with my hands over my ears like
Okay.
this, and he was in my mom's bedroom.
And that's when he was making that comment. You're not going to stand between me and her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How'd you get these stuff around your neck? How'd you get all that?
They're hickeys.
They're just hickeys. Okay. How'd you get this?
That is a hickey, and that one's a bruise.
Okay.
And then
You're telling me this is a hickey? You've been honest with me this whole time now. Don't start lying to me now. What is this and how did you get it? I'm a guy. I would never give a girl a hickey on her arm. Okay? How'd you get that bruise? Look at me.
Yeah, so it's interesting. She's starting to take responsibility. That's a big moment where she said she had an idea what he was doing. And he didn't say it to her, which would have made her more responsible, right? If he announced her intentions, although we'll know once the electronic records are revealed that this was a plan of both of theirs for some time. So you see the slippery slope here of how interrogations are like boiling a frog, and we're about an hour into it and we're starting to get shreds of her being an accomplice or being complicit in some way. And yeah, it's interesting, the big brute. When she said that about a hickey on her arm, I thought, like, that's a weird place for a hickey. But also Nick and Gypsy seem to be very, I don't know, experimental, let's say, in their relationship. So maybe, but I'm interested to see where he goes with this, that the detective's not letting her get away with it. And I wonder if there's a name for the technique of when you know that you can use someone else to pin it, when you can use the person you're interviewing to pin it on the other person, if you can, by way of them snitching, get even more details on the case that then also inculpate the person you're speaking to.
At what point did he grab your arm?
He kept on grabbing me to bring me around the house. And he made me clean up the drops of blood.
Okay. Describe that to me.
He forced me to be naked while I was doing it.
Okay.
So, he went into the kitchen and he asked if we had any carpet washing stuff.
Okay. What was, do you know the name of it or what did it look like? Can you describe it to me?
Just this one's carpet odor remover. We didn't have any stain remover.
Was it in a bottle?
It was in a reddish maroon bottle.
Okay.
And he grabbed my arm like this and said, "Clean it up."
Now, where were you at when he did that? What part of the house were you at?
The drops of blood went from my mom's bedroom all the way to the hall, into the dining room, to the kitchen. And he made me clean it up each drop.
Good.
And he wanted to drink of water. So he said he couldn't touch any of the cups. So grab him a cup, get him some water, and he made me give him a drink of water.
Okay. What were you using to clean up the blood? Was it like a washcloth, a towel, or something different?
Scott towel.
Scott towel. Was this something your mom had in the house? Okay. What'd you do with those towels?
We threw it in the garbage.
The garbage. Okay. Where's that garbage at now?
They took it out.
Okay. Where did they take it out to? Like the street, or did they take it somewhere in a car and take it, or something different?
The trash usually passes on a Thursday morning.
Your guys' trash comes on Thursday morning.
So we put it out on the curb.
Okay. When did he kill your mom?
On the night. The night of the night.
The night of the 9th? Do you know what day that was?
I can't remember the name of the day. I'm sorry.
How come you can remember the 9th, but you don't remember the day? Can you kind of explain that to me?
Because I remember we were planning to sneak outside and see each other.
You remember it was the 9th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Anything else you need to tell me? Anything else you're leaving out? It's your last opportunity.
No, sir. That's it.
Nothing about you?
I didn't do anything wrong.
You never killed your mom?
No.
Never touched her with a knife?
No, never did, sir.
You never agreed? Told him that you knew he was going to kill her?
No. I never.
Told her?
I didn't do anything wrong. He said,
You never killed your mom?
no.
Never touched her with a knife?
No, never did, sir.
You never agreed? Told him that you knew he was going to kill her?
No.
I feel like there was a slight pause compared to the other no's. It was like, you know, did you kill her? No. Did you hurt her? No. Did you know that he was going to? No. Also, I'm just remembering to say this, but how interesting when she's recalling her mother calling her name, calling out for her as she's being stabbed to death, that Gypsy didn't get that emotional. And I wonder if that's one of those things where it's just so horrific and traumatizing that you can recall it and quite emotionlessly, without emotion. Yeah. And that in contrast to those moments of performed emotion from her. Okay, so we're going to go just for another minute or so and wrap it up.
I never...
What do you think he's going to tell me?
He's going to tell you that I came here just to see him and that he didn't do it. But
So he's not going to tell me that you had any part of this?
honestly, I don't know what he's going to say.
Okay, I'm asking you direct and straight.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think he's going to tell me that you had anything to do with your mom's killing? And this is the time to be honest, because like I told you, walk out that door.
He has a romantic notion of us doing everything together as a team, but I didn't want this. I wanted my mom and him to...
So did you kill your mom?
No, sir.
Did you help?
Is it me, or did she say, I didn't want this? And then she started nodding. And she said, he's going to tell you that he didn't do this. Paraphrasing here, sorry. And then she goes, but. So, yeah, she's really pushing this whole, I'm going to point the finger at him without really pointing the finger at him, but you're a detective and you're on me like glue, and I know you're going to pick up all these little hints and stuff. So, yeah.
Help.
No, sir.
Nicholas kill your mom?
No, sir. No, sir.
Did you have knowledge that Nicholas was going to kill your mom before he did it?
No, sir.
Okay. Sit tight for me, okay?
All right, so I think we should stop here. It's a good place to pick up for next time, which will be the last one. Yeah, it's interesting. She starts to get emotional or pretend or whatever, and he walks out and she can't help but glance at the door. And I forget who it is from the behavior panel that says that real emotion like that is kind of all consuming, and you don't care what the other person thinks of you or what else is going on, that it's so intense that it kind of becomes your primary focus. So to me, that moment of checking on the door, like who's in the hallway, can I see anything, like can I gather any more intel about what's going on, is very telling. So yeah, let me know what y'all thought in the comments below, and I'll see y'all next time.